Hey friends, I'm Ash.
I'm Elle.
We are Lovey Cosplay.
And this is Shenanigans, cosplayers say. Yeah.
That just happened.
That happened. So we know we mentioned on Instagram that we had some big updates and some big changes for you. And one of them is a title change for the podcast. Now, don't panic. Pretty much nothing else is changing about the podcast.
R.I.P.
Just the name. And this isn't something we chose to do lightly either. We've thrown back and forth about whether or not we need to make a change for probably at least 2 seasons. Once things started to really pick up at the end of season 2, beginning of season 3, and we were starting to go back to cons, we kind of kept having conversations back and forth with like, ooh, do we need to consider changing this? Do we need to do something else? So we just want you all to know this wasn't like something we did lightly, but it was something we kind of felt at this point was necessary for us to move forward.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
We picked Shenanigans because it has a very similar meaning to our previous title, which we're not going to say because now one of the benefits is I don't have to mark this explicit.
Ta-da!
We'll get to that in this explanation. You know, all of the wild, interesting, complicated things that happen in our community felt like they matched really well with the word shenanigans. It has a similar sound to the previous title. It has the same abbreviations. We're like, this ultimately would be probably our best but easiest transition. After, you know, as we moved forward with this podcast, the title started to not fit particularly well, at least.
Well, and we've talked about it for years at this point, how what the podcast and the show have evolved into is really nothing that either one of us quite expected whenever we started talking about doing this in 2019.
Oh yeah, this isn't remotely the show I thought we were just gonna like complain about cons and stuff. Like, I really didn't think we'd be having like psych episodes and deep dives into the community, and that wasn't what I thought this was going to be. I'm glad that it is what it is. It's much more interesting than what I thought it was going to be, like, where we started from. But it also means that the title didn't fit quite right anymore.
This one's a little more playful, and like Elle said, it's not a dirty word. So we don't have to worry about people saying it or typing it. We don't have to put lots of asterisks and things. We don't have to have convention centers censor us and change the title to stuff.
So, real talk, friends. Real talk here. Because Elle about started to lose freaking mind with all these submissions we've been doing and all the problems cons have with our podcast title was starting to drive me nuts. We have had pretty much one convention that has printed the title as is. All other conventions have kind of fought us on our title. And so 9 times out of 10, we can't even do our live show under the title of the previous podcast name because the cons won't let us. They won't print it. Because even though it is censored, it is apparently not censored enough. Because it is a PG-13 word, but for some reason, everybody treating it like it's an F-bomb. I don't understand. We can't say it in public. We can't say it on other podcasts. We can't say it in streams. We can't say it on stage. And it was driving me nuts. I'm like, we are on stage in front of, because, you know, these contests are also being streamed, thousands of people. We can't say our podcast name. And with all the research we've been doing with like guesting, I've come to learn that there are actually a lot of cons that would not allow us to display our podcast name on the show floor. That we would likely get in trouble for having our badge ribbons that like probably aren't booking us because of the title of the podcast. So we were like, well, that's a problem.
So if you happen to have one of our old badge ribbons,
it's vintage.
It's one of those things that we're not getting any more printed of. So if they're gone, because we have a very limited stock left, but once they're gone, they're gone. We won't have any more printed. You can't just get another one from us at the next con, because they are no longer going to be made.
Because they will have the new title on them now, so that we don't cause any problems.
Well, at least no problems with our name. No guarantees that we don't cause other problems.
Yeah, we can't guarantee we'll not cause problems. Just the name of the podcast won't be a problem anymore. You know, the other thing that the name was doing, because so on YouTube through the podcast apps, I have to mark the podcast explicit simply because of the title. And most of the time, our episodes are PG to PG-13 at most. We are drastically limiting our audience by having a restrictive title. It was fine when we were online only. You know, it was enticing, it was engaging. People would pass it and go, oh, what's that? But now that we're like in front of people, the title's making it hard for us to use like our full potential with other people. We aren't really an 18 plus show. The fact that we have to mark everything explicit is a little silly just because of a title. And then we did, as you all know, or may not know, if you don't follow our Instagram, but you should go follow our Instagram, we got everything on YouTube. But now YouTube has somebody new in charge and they're getting really strict. So we have a high risk of getting taken down because of YouTube's new censorship rules. And we both roll our eyes through this entire conversation we're having with you guys right now because we do not feel that this word is really that big of a deal. Kids under 13 make up such a small part of con, but cons are so very, 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 very concerned about that population and being able to like cater and present to that population. I get it. They want the parents to bring their children because the parents are now us. They want us to bring their kids. They want the parents to feel comfortable. They don't want any problems from parents. So they want everything to be very family friendly on the surface. I get it. I get anime cons nowadays are pretty much for the preteen and teen variety, so I kind of get it there. I have gone back and forth with cons for the last, 3 years about what they'll allow us to print this title as. And we have had some great ones. I have even had them where they wouldn't let us do, at one point, we headed down to, star, S star star star, and I had a con go, you can't even do that, because it implies the swear word. And we had to, completely change things, and it starts to, defeat the purpose. If you can't say your podcast title, how do you market it? And as the person that currently has to do a lot of that, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this title? No one will let me use it. Hopefully, this will be a change for the better. Ideally. I think it'll make things easier. We don't have to skirt around our title when we're on stage anymore.
Nope. We can just say it.
We can just say it. When we're talking to people in the hallway, we can just say it. We don't have to, skirt around it, so.
Yeah. Speaking of updates, you should all go check out our updated website over at lavicosplay.com to make things a little bit easier for you. We also created some hot links to our socials through our webpage. So if you ever forget, which I have a hard time believing that you would, or if you ever get lazy and don't want to have to type things in the search bar, you can go to lavicosplay.com/Facebook, lavicosplay.com/Instagram, lavicosplay.com/TikTok, or lavicosplay.com/YouTube, and it will take you directly to our profiles on all those apps.
It's a pretty swanky website. Ash did a pretty killer job on it.
Thank you.
It's fancy. It has pictures that move and stuff. It's pretty swanky.
It was a labor of love.
It's pretty swanky. We all official now. We have a website that looks like a website. Because we had one a long time ago and it kind of died.
Died?
Because what was it? Was it the template died or something?
Actually, that was the in-between. So we had an old one that we used, and then we're like, we want to change a bunch of it. So we were going to completely scrap it. So for the longest time, if you went to lavicosplay.com, it just took you to our podcast page over on Buzzsprout, and just automatically you got to our podcast info because that's where we were posting everything. And then, yes, so I got a new template that I really liked, and that template died that was supposed to go up, and like half the plugins stopped working. And I was like, well, that was a huge waste of money. Okay, well, back to square one. So then after playing with about 3 templates later and being like, I really need to get this done, here we are. And now we have new photos because, of course, as we've talked about previously, a lot of our photographs were all taken by one particular photographer that we no longer display photos from anymore. So be sure to go back to that episode if you want the full story. But TLDR is that particular person is no longer on good terms with the con community, and we did not want to give them extra advertising. So,
speaking of photos, my Joanna photo shoot is next week.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. So if you have been under a rock and not on our Instagram, you should join our Instagram. I am making a princess version of Joanna the Goanna from The Rescuers Down Under. I have a completely rhinestoned egg. Her harness is made of jewels. It's great. But our lovely local photographer at Brick and Bougie Studios is Catherine Lynn is going to be shooting Joanna for me.
Excellent.
Should be a good time. She's a sparkly princess.
It makes me happy.
With her sparkly princess egg.
So happy.
It's very, very silly. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be up there with whenever we decide to do a Bluey and Bingo photo shoot.
Please?
Please?
Please.
Magic xylophone.
Grannies.
Grannies.
Yes, definitely grannies.
Can we also cosplay grannies at a con?
Yes.
Can we
Obviously.
cricket cut the glasses?
The Chattermax glasses?
Yes, and get blankets and run around con as grannies.
Yes, Janet and Rita.
Can we please be Janet and Rita?
Yep. I need a can of baked beans and one of those little like claw grabbers.
So what you're saying is we need that for a con in our near future on Sunday.
That's a great plan.
Can we please do that?
I like it.
Let's just elevate our choices for that day.
I like it.
We need a scooter and muffin.
A scooter.
These are the best idea ever.
I love them. They're so good.
Yes, we need to bring...
And then we have to floss.
Huh?
Then we have to floss.
Yeah, I can't floss very well, so...
Oh, it's all good things.
Yeah, no, we need that as well for Sunday. That's a thing.
I'm down with it.
That's
Let's
a thing.
do it.
We need that.
I'm going to Amazon watermelon blanket right now.
Please. I don't know what color I need. I think I've seen one of the Granny episodes, so...
You need a watermelon blanket.
Oh, I need a watermelon blanket? Is that what I have?
It's that, like, that red with the green stripe at the bottom.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what you need.
I need this in my life. Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
So I guess if you're going to be at this con that we're going to soon, you might see us running around as Rita and Janet on Sunday. I'm guessing it'll be Sunday. I don't know. Probably Sunday. It could also be another day because we have some things. We are finally leaving the Midwest, friends. Now, granted, yes, we went to Spain, but...
That doesn't count. A little bit closer than Spain.
British Columbia.
Come visit.
We're coming to near your neck of the woods.
But not quite.
But not quite, but we hear a lot of you come to this convention. We are going to be at SakuraCon in Seattle, Washington. We are not guests, so I'll make that perfectly clear, because I don't want anyone getting that confused. Cons get upset about that.
Yeah, we're going for funsies, because it's been on the bucket list for probably a decade or more.
Yes, SakuraCon's been on our list for a really long time. We wanted to make sure one of our goals for this year was to do at least one convention outside of the Midwest, so... This is our at least one. However, we were like, well, we don't know if we're going to get out to the West Coast again. And I don't know that I want to wait around for a guesting opportunity to get us out there. So we are doing not one, but 2 live shows. So we will be doing the 18 plus live show, and we will be doing the new all ages live show as well. As of when we're recording today, date and time are to be announced. So follow the socials to find out when and where those will be. I know their 18 plus content is after 9 p.m., so it'll either be Friday or Saturday night. The all ages one is kind of up in the air. I know for sure it won't be Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon because we'll be a little busy. Oh, why would we be busy on Saturday morning / early afternoon at SakuraCon?
Gosh, I can't imagine.
Gosh, I can't imagine.
So much suspense.
What could we possibly be doing that we have to put on elaborate costumes on both Friday and Saturday?
Nope, I haven't the foggiest idea.
I haven't the foggiest idea of what we could possibly be doing, or why Elle is suddenly fixing Harley.
Nah.
Or why we're suddenly
no
posting anything about Ivy. I can't imagine what we could possibly be doing.
Nope, not the foggiest.
No, not the foggiest idea of what we could possibly be doing at a con that we're not guesting at that we are choosing to attend.
Nope, no idea. So weird.
So you may just have to come to a certain show on Saturday because you may just end up catching us possibly on a stage. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's on a floor. I don't know.
I hear that they have, like, you know, a contest that has costumes in it.
I've heard that they have a contest with costumes on a decent sized stage. I hear that it's typically very early. Like, it was 10 a.m. last year, so I'm a little concerned.
I mean, that's like noon our time.
Yeah, but I'm old. So if our show is Friday night, we could have a problem. I'm pretty sure I put in the application, please do not put us in late night for Friday. Because we may have to be at call at like 7 a.m.
Which is 9?
Yeah, but still.
I know.
It's so early.
It's so early. That's okay.
So early. I mean, the benefit is, though, you have the rest of Saturday. Like, you don't lose your entire Saturday. By, like, yes, we have to put it on twice because you get judged on Friday and then the show is Saturday. But you don't lose your entire Saturday, which could be interesting because we're so used to losing our entire Saturday. I don't really know what that's like to do Saturday of a con.
We're going to find out.
Like, I have no idea except for, like, C2E2 because we don't compete at C2E2. Because we've never tried to compete at C2E2. Guess we'll find out what that's losing Saturday of C2 is like if we ever do Crown. But, like...
Oh.
I know.
Yeah.
I hear they might start finally pre-assigning judging appointments for Crown, though. So
Ooh.
That would be nice. Yeah. Well,
okay.
Because as of, like, last year, you just had to show up Saturday morning, and it was first come, first serve for, like, judging appointments. And they smash them all into, like, 3 hours on Saturday. And I don't know how they do it. Because it's, like, 30 entries, and they're super elaborate. And those poor judges. Like, I don't know how they do it.
Yes, bless all of you.
Mm-hmm. So we will be on the West Coast. Phil is not coming with us.
No, he'll be with us in spirit.
Phil takes an entire suitcase by himself, so he is not coming with us.
Yeah, not when we need, like, things like set pieces.
Yeah, and I mean, our set's not very big, but, like, it needs its own... I mean, the costumes should all fit in one together, probably, but your wig needs its own home. Your wig is a separate costume, let's be honest. It's your turn now to have the wig that is a separate costume.
She probably takes up about as much space as the rest of the costume. At least for packing purposes.
That's probably accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Because your costume's not that large.
It's not.
And your boots, like, fold up, unlike mine.
Yeah, they're tight.
Because they're tights. Where Harley actually takes up a decent amount of room because of the boots. Because she's actual leather boots, so... And her wig is a lot, but it comes apart. But it still also has to be in, like, a container so it doesn't get crushed. So, I don't know. Elle problem in a couple of weeks because I don't want to do her wig too early and then have it deflate too much being packed away. So, that's like a weekend before our progress book is due problem that I redo that wig because I don't want it to get too deflated being packed away. But I learned from when we went to Spain that you can't just put the wigs in the suitcase. You need to, like, have something around them to keep the pressure off of them because they will get into horrible shape And you will think you can just fix it, and you cannot. So
And you cannot.
You cannot. So they need to be in like a box or something that can keep like pressure off. Or honestly, her wig might end up in like a rolling carry-on suitcase for me. That might also end up what happens to yours too.
It's not a poor plan, so.
No. Well, they won't get mashed then by everything else. Because now, at least this time, we're not going for like 2 weeks. Collectively, clothing and all things should fit in one suitcase with the set, and then the girls should fit in one suitcase together, and we should be good. Actually, there should be space in the suitcase that just have the girls, because they're really not that big of costumes. There's just a lot of, like, you have to, like, I'm gonna have to wrap her in something because of all the sparkles, and then I have to, like, wrap the corset, and then we have to wrap yours. They all have to be, like, wrapped in fabric to protect the thousands upon thousands of rhinestones.
Fabric or tissue paper or...
I mean, I transported 9 in a pillowcase to protect all her beading and her rhinestones. It works. Sheets and pillowcases. It's all good.
All good things. All good things, yes.
So that will be the 7th through the 9th of April. We will be in Seattle.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then we're going to come back, and a couple days later, we're going to turn around and go to Illinois State University.
Yep.
Because we are speaking at ReggieCon at Illinois State University the following weekend. So ReggieCon's kind of a unique event. It's a collection of different speakers who are going to speak on various topics that are related to fandom and cosplay and comics, but they talk a lot about the psychosocial and the community and the identity, race and ethnicity, and those aspects within fandom, which is why the lovely professors asked us to come, kind of based on our psychosocial content that we've put up on the show. So we will be doing a panel on cosplay and self-expression and identity. And then we will do a live show. So, Chicago peeps, this is only 2 hours away from you.
Yeah, so this is going to be taking place at the Normal Theater in Normal, Illinois.
Peoria people, this is close to you.
Yes, this is very close to Peoria.
So, for those of you that miss us from a certain Peoria con that we used to do many, many years ago, hey, come see us at Illinois State. Yeah, it should be a good time.
Also, it is free and open to the public.
Yeah, free.
Good stuff.
Yes, it's 2 days packed full of content. It should be a really good time. They'll have more information available as we get a little bit closer to the event, but it's just kind of a really cool concept. I haven't really seen anything like this done before, so I think it'll be really interesting because they're also mixing movies in as well. The event runners are curating it with, they're picking a movie to go with each talk, essentially. So we're going to have one of the cosplay documentaries. We're not sure which one it is yet. They go through, they figure out what they think you're going to talk about, and then they're picking a film to go with it. And the films are also free. All free. You could have a whole day of entertainment.
2 days.
2 days of entertainment for free. We're going to be tired by the end of that.
That's okay.
Because we get back on Monday, and then we turn around on Friday, and we do a thing again. That's okay, because it's still better than when we did 15 cons. So,
and we just really love the ReggieCon cruise.
That's also true. You know, as someone who's been kind of questioning their, like, cosplay identity, so to speak, I think that this talk will be very interesting. It's kind of a panel topic we've thrown around before. Lots has changed in cosplay again, as cosplay continues to evolve, which we will talk more about that in the next episode of this season with our friend from Cosplay in America. You know, as a competitive cosplayer, you're always trying to figure out where you fit, and the competitive scene has changed a lot again. I'm really in this weird headspace right now of like, can I do the level of competing that I want to do, or can I not do it? Which is part of why the cosplay doubling stream is just on hold until further notice, because I'm just not in a headspace for it right now. I have a lot of personal family things going on and just cannot get in that headspace, but I'm also like creatively not in the right headspace because I'm trying to figure out where I fit right now in like the expectations have just gotten really high competing at a master's level, particularly at like the higher level that we like to do because it presents a challenge. I also don't have a lot of personal interest in doing things like 3D printing or computer programming or cobbling shoes or buying really extensive equipment to do different kinds of casting. Like, I just don't I don't have the interest. And so by making that choice, I also need to kind of figure out if then by proxy I'm making the choice to kind of like stop at a certain level. Because you can't begrudge the people that have the means, you know? So it's like, well, if I don't choose to keep up with the new expectations, then I kind of have to choose to stop at a certain level. So it's just really kind of, I don't really know what to make right now because I just look at everything and go, this won't be enough. Like, it's just not, it's too much of the same technique. It doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. It's just not going to be enough. So I have to figure out why else I'm doing these things. If there's other values out of some of these contests than having the opportunity to win an award. Like, am I okay walking into a contest knowing it's absolutely not possible for me to win? Internationals had lots of other things that it didn't matter. Are there other contests like that where, you know, when you walk in, you're like, yeah, it's totally not going to happen, but there's all these other benefits to it. So, or do I just stop competing? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. So streaming doesn't sound like so much fun when you're not sure why you're doing it anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm totally okay with just putting competition on hold personally, at least for now. Just like I said, I've talked about it before. I think I talked about it in our closer. I'm not feeling particularly inspired in one way or another, and I just kind of want to make things for the purpose of making things again because I haven't felt like I could do that in a long time. And then I guess if I decide to do something with it later, I can, because I don't know how to not finish seams or that kind of stuff.
I guess I'm just struggling with making these things that I wanted to make, knowing that what do I do with it if I don't enter it into a contest is kind of the struggle. Because it's like, you know, I look at them like I'm not going to be able to enter these into the contests I want to enter into, the level of contest that I want to enter into, because they're not going to have enough. Like Hinoto, and I'm like, what am I going to do with her if I don't enter her anything? 40 yards of fabric, but she's also a lot of the same technique over and over again. So that's not impressive. Like, it's not enough. I don't have super fancy techniques all over this thing, so it's not enough. So I'm guessing it's my imposter syndrome getting me a little bit.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think anybody can answer that question for you.
I mean, nobody can.
But you can take your time with it because there's no hurry.
Well, because we haven't really made stuff ever that wasn't for a contest. I don't know how to make something that's not for a contest. And she's a terrible example because she's not wearable on a con floor. So,
right.
Like, so why do I make her? I can't wear her. So I am trying to look at stuff that is more universally wearable because I think that will help a lot. Having costumes that actually can be worn on a con floor. It doesn't matter as much to me if, like, Oogie ever gets into a contest or not because she's been super wearable. So, like, I've gotten use out of her and, like, I got a lot out of her creatively. You know, I've worn Harley a bunch already, and Harley will continue to get use after this contest. So, like, it's not... I guess that might be the thing I kind of have to look at is, like, well, what else... It's almost like, what else do I do with this costume if I don't take it to a competition and win something? Like, what do I do with it if I can't wear it? No more 40 yards of fabric costumes that we can't wear.
I mean, we talked about not making not wearable costumes anyway at some point.
I mean, that's true. And most of what we've looked at are relatively... I mean, Judar and Kogyoku are wearable, as we've talked before. We really need, like, something really simple and easy to wear. Because even, like, Nine and Wicked Lady are not always the easiest things to wear.
They're fussy.
They are very fussy. We need something that's not fussy. Send us suggestions for duos that are not fussy but look nice.
Like, I want the comfort of, like, Ranma, maybe just, like, a little more current.
Ninja Shadows, shall we do?
That is not the same comfort level as silk pajamas.
we're not going to find the comfort level of silk pajamas.
Curses.
We could revisit Link and Zelda from Hyrule Warriors. Our best ones were Riku and Yuna. We wore those to death.
Elle literally means that we can't physically wear them in the state that they are currently in anymore.
Riku died. I did that photo shoot at the waterfall and she was done. She was falling apart. They were never, ever intended to be worn the amount of times they were worn.
Yeah, those were speed builds.
They were speed builds. So we need pretty...
Those were, oh no, we need something to wear in less than a month.
We need this looks nice, but it's wearable.
Well, if and when I ever get around to making Yuna 3.0, she's going to be extra wearable because I'm just going to make her a one-piece dress.
I mean, that makes sense.
Nice mesh fabric up top.
Riku 2.0 will be made out of actual leather, so we'll see. I mean, I would think that'd be more wearable than the vinyl.
I always wanted to make her, her long sleeve pant leather outfit that she has. I mean, that'll never happen, but...
No.
It also just looks terrible to make and terrible to actually wear.
Well, and we don't need any more of those because we got plenty of those.
Don't need those.
We got plenty of this is awful to wear.
One thing I had considered making that is along those same lines that would be actually probably fairly comfortable to wear is the songstress outfit.
Oh, yeah, they're cute.
Because it's either a short skirt or shorts or a skirt, depending on how you feel like making it. And then a little sleeveless top and some armbands and boots.
Their festival outfits are real cute, too.
Yeah. Well, mine's a little more formal than yours. Yours is shorts. So...
Or we're just going to wear Bluey and Bingo Kigus and be grannies.
Obviously. That's going to be part of it.
So it doesn't solve we need something that we made that isn't horrendous to wear. Because we got nothing, because we killed all our costumes that we used to use that for.
Oh my goodness, yes.
They're dead.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. because they were not meant to be worn that many times, so...
No, they were not. Yeah, big yikes.
Yeah, they did not live to tell the tale.
That's okay. They serve their initial purpose, so that's something, I guess.
It's true. Many of you have asked us to touch on the Cosplay Star fiasco. So we're going to touch a little bit on this, but we're not going to go very in-depth to it. But if you haven't heard of it, Star Magazine released a cosplay contest.
You might have seen it next to your grocery store checkout.
Star Magazine is basically a tabloid.
Oh no, it totally is a tabloid.
I mean, that's what it is. I don't know why they decided to run a cosplay contest because it is not the right audience. But they are running a cosplay contest where you can win a photo shoot and $10,000. And then they're going to give money to charity. And them running a contest isn't a big deal, but you really need to look at the fine print of this contest.
Talk to your tax professionals.
Yes. So what people don't always realize is in the United States, you pay taxes not only on cash prizes, but also on the determined value of a prize. As of, early March and they may have changed things by the time this comes out, the cash prize is $10K. But the fair market value for the photo shoot is estimated around $37,000 US. Meaning that whoever wins will owe more than the cash they have left over in taxes. Because basically how this works is initially the IRS is going to ask you for 24% of your estimated prize total upfront. So this is before you even get your 10K. They're going to want you to pay your taxes. Then later when you do your taxes, you're going to owe likely a remainder on your prize, which is typically in that high tax bracket of 37%. So you're going to pay this 24%, and then you're going to pay an additional amount of money on top of that usually adds up to a total of 37% in taxes. Get yourself a good tax professional. Maybe they can help you get around some of that.
The one verified grand prize winner, this is from their website, by the way, in the competition will receive a prize package valued at an approximate maximum retail value of $48,432 comprised of a $10,000 cash honorarium, 2 3-day passes to 2023 Rose City Comic Con in Portland for September 22nd through 24th, 2023, and the $37,632 estimated value of attending an exclusive photo shoot to be photographed to be featured in a minimum 2-page spread in Star magazine, with the exact number of pages for the interior page pictorial to be determined by the operator. So yes, you're going to get a 2-page spread in a celebrity tabloid.
And you're going to owe money. One of the big problems with this is, depending on your state, you may also end up owing state taxes, and the cash prize and the non-cash prize can push you into a higher income bracket, making you pay overall more taxes. So think about whether or not that photo shoot is worth $37,000 for you, because you are going to pay a lot of money to have this opportunity. The prize of meeting with Yaya Han is no longer available because she has a conflict. So that is no longer there. I don't know if that was going to have made it more expensive or not. I hear they threw in a 3D printer now instead.
I know they haven't updated their grand prize list.
The sad part is you can't sell this photo shoot either. It's not like when you win a car, you like can pay the taxes and then sell it. Like it just is. Like it's not a tangible thing. It just is.
To the extent that any U.S. federal and or state income or other taxes apply to the value of prizes and or awards provided to the grand prize winner, the grand prize winner shall be solely responsible for the reporting and payment of such taxes.
Which means they are not going to do the thing that they could do and offer to pay your taxes for you. Now, you would pay tax on that money that they are going to offer to help you pay it, but it is considered a gift, which means it is taxed at a different rate. But according to those words, they're not going to offer to do that for you, which means you are going to pay to have this opportunity. So hopefully whoever wins financially can do that. This is why you should read the fine print, friends.
Well, and most of the photographers that I know have publicly stated on their pages that they blanket are not authorizing anybody to use any of their photographs for this contest.
Because by submitting those photos, now the contest owns them. And the photographers do not want that to happen. Also note that this is a contest where you buy votes. If you look at the fine print, only 25% of that money is going to charity. So the thing that grinds my gears, because this contest is not illegal, so people keep trying to it's not legal. No, it's 100% legal.
Oh, yeah.
The way this is set up is totally legal. They are being 100% upfront with you about how all this works, but people don't read. They don't read the rules. And a lot of U.S. citizens don't know how taxes work.
Competition fees, 29.5%. Variable cost, not to exceed 20.5%. Nominal percentage retained by DT Care.
So the thing that really gets me, these contests prey on the hopefuls who want to be that star and have that opportunity to be able to make their dreams come true. Like, that's who these contests come after. So if you don't, I'm gonna feel terrible if whoever wins this is someone who cannot pay this. What are they gonna do? They're gonna have a GoFundMe to pay for their 2-page spread in Star magazine because they owe thousands of dollars in taxes.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
Read before you sign up for these contests, because there is a lot of fine print with contests like this. And the taxes thing, I paid taxes on a $250 prize I won once. It happens on prize money. You win Twitch, you're paying taxes. You win Crown, you're paying taxes. You pay taxes on this stuff. You win a big screen $3,000 TV from a contest, guess what? You're paying taxes on that. Unless you decline the prize. That's one of the reasons I don't like competing in contests that give you stuff, because I usually don't want the stuff. And I don't want to pay the taxes on it. Now, paying taxes on a $3,000 TV is nothing compared to a $48,000 prize package. But the photographer thing, people also need to realize when you apply to contests, you are giving the rights away you typically for your photos.
So they can publish your pictures and use them for any advertisements and literally anything that they want to use them for, and they're never going to have to pay you for them.
Yeah, that's extremely common.
Ever. You made the comment about, preying on the hopefuls, and it reminds me a lot of these modeling magazines that I see all the time pop up, and cosplay magazines are exactly the same way, because nobody actually buys cosplay magazines for the content in them. Because what happens with a lot of these, I see it pop up on our local modeling photographer group all the time. Everyone's talking about, oh, I got a spread and this is my thing and I'm so excited. So you spend all this time and money making these great photographs with your photographer, and then you submit them to these magazines, and then they're like, oh yeah, totally, we're gonna put your picture in here, knowing that the hundreds of people who got accepted in their magazines are then going to buy a copy of it. But beyond that, most people aren't going to buy a copy of these modeling magazines outside of the people that are in it. So it's not like they're making money in any other fashion. They're doing it because you submitted your picture, they accepted you, and now you're giving them dollars. And that happens hundreds of times per issue. And then if your photographer also happens to purchase a copy, that's double from the same photo.
Yeah, I've always wondered who's buying these magazines outside of the people that are in them.
Their parents? I don't know.
Well, I mean, outside of people who are associated with the people that are in them.
No one.
Who buys magazines anymore?
Yeah, in the age of the internet, who buys magazines?
And I mean, I understand that being in publications helps with cred, essentially, because you'll see it a lot now in cosplayer bios. Has been featured in XYZ magazine. It's oh, should we be adding that to our bio? Because we've been in at least 3 of them. So I get that it helps with resume building for both photographers and models. But that seems to be where the benefit taps out, because the magazines aren't paying the photographer for the photos.
That only goes as far as for the people that actually understand how all of that works. The people that are reviewing your submission materials understand that this is one where you submitted yourself and then somebody was the editor, decided to put you in it, and then you bought a copy of it. That doesn't have nearly as much street cred as an outside publication that would have actively sought you out. Or when we were on the news that one time in Ohio. That's different than us being ha, we want to be in this gallery.
I forgot we were on the news in Ohio.
Yes. Yeah, that was for Hamlin.
That's right. That was a long time ago. Forgot about that.
It was Mother's Day, and they wanted to know why you guys didn't get anything for your cosplay moms.
That's right. Why do we not have footage of that? I wish we did.
Have to hunt that down.
It's very silly. Yeah, I knew when this popped up, I was oh, no. Staying away from that with a 10-foot pole. Don't want to touch it. And we've mentioned, cosplays, the contest, Star Magazine, they're not doing anything illegal. They're not. This is completely legal. They were very upfront with everybody. It's all right there in writing. Do I think what they're doing is great? No. You definitely need to read, the fine print of these contests before signing up for them. Because there's usually a lot of, red tape underneath that you might want to be aware of. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. As of recording this, it has not ended yet. It'll be interesting to see what happens with it, if they go through with it, what happens.
Read the rules.
Read the rules.
I mean, that is rule number 1, is read the rules.
It is. It is rule number 1, is read the rules.
Yeah, if any of you are tax professionals, I would totally like to hear more about your opinions on those, but yeah.
Rule number 2 is, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. That tax thing, though, and I don't know if it's because I worked in, accounting departments, but I was shocked to find out how many people did not know that, you're taxed on prices.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Had no clue that you were taxed on prices. It's yeah, they consider that income.
Well, and there are some organizations, like you mentioned earlier, that will go ahead and pay your taxes for you. That's part of the prize package, essentially, is a little bit extra to cover at least a portion of that.
But you can only gift up to like $15,000.
Yeah, and then up to a certain extent, there's a lot of them where they'll try to make the prize money at least, like the cash value of the actual like monetary, whether it's cash check, however they decide to do it. Your negotiable funds are going to be at least as much as your taxes would be, so that you're not having to like pay out of pocket. So you might only end up with the stuff, but at least you're not paying anything.
Well, and in this case, you will pay. It will not cover the taxes. It won't cover the taxes. Like, what was it, 48?
48 and some change, yeah.
We'll just say it's 48. And if you get taxed at the highest rate of 37% in total, you would owe $17,760 in taxes.
So your cash is going to cover a little over half.
And that's if the full tax amount ends up adding up to 37%. That's not including state taxes, which some states will also do.
Yes.
On top of that federal. That's also not including the additional tax you will end up paying in total income, because it's going to push you into a different tax bracket. Because that's like a good size yearly salary right there, 48. That's going to put anybody into another tax bracket.
Yeah, unless you're already up there, there's a really good chance you're going to jump at least
unless
one.
you're at the max anyway, in which case you probably don't care about this contest because you probably don't need it. A lot of hidden costs there. That also pains me, $17,000 in taxes. It hurts. It reminds me I need to go do my taxes and then cry later.
And then cry later.
Every year they make me cry.
Same.
Bye, dollars. Bye.
I will say I did get a new tax deduction recently in the last couple of years, so that's nice.
That is true. You did. I don't have that. I don't have one of those. I feel like they cost more than their tax deduction, though. So
that's true. They do. It just helps a little bit. Yep, it helps a little bit.
Maybe they will figure something out and they'll decide to help pay for the taxes after all.
I don't know where that money is going to come from, though, if they're already given, like, over 50% to administrative costs.
And 25% to charity.
I don't know where the other 25% is, though.
I don't know, because it's very dependent on people buying votes, so I'm not quite sure how... There's a lot about this contest where I'm just like, who designed this? As a contest runner, my brain is going, why?
I mean, the percentages for charity doesn't necessarily surprise me.
No, that's a pretty normal number. Which is also something people don't realize.
Yeah. I used to help run one of our like big charity fundraisers every year through my job. It'll tell you, like, we used companies to process a lot of them because there were, probably 10,000 charities to pick from, but most of them were under the umbrella of like 10 or 11 companies. So like they would do automatic payroll deductions and then send checks to those places, and then those places would then distribute the funds. And yeah, they all have their very specific percentages for how much their fees are that they take off the top before passing it along to your charity. So read the fine print. You're better off just writing a check directly. And even then, your charity is going to have administrative costs that they have to deal with before the money actually goes towards whatever purpose that you're earmarking it for.
But no, that 25%'s not uncommon, which I think people think a lot of times when places are like, we're doing it for charity, they're giving like 100% over, but that's never, like, that's not typically what is done.
That's like rare, if never the case. So
keep an eye on it. We'll let you know how it plays out.
Yep. Read the rules.
You gotta read your rules.
I'm Ash.
I'm Elle.
We are Lavi Cosplay.
This is Shenanigans, Cosplayers Say. Please read the rules. You've been listening to Shenanigans, Cosplayers Say, produced by LVC Productions. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at Lavi Cosplay. Our podcast Instagram is Podcast SCS. Our website is lavicosplay.com. Have a fun, crazy con or cosplay-related story, absurd cosplay question, or just something in general to share with us? Email us at podcastscs@gmail.com or DM us at podcastscs or Lavi Cosplay on Instagram. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening, and remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should.